All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our show. It is Throwback Thursday here on 22 Minutes with Jason and Stefan, established 2016. So
Man, seems like just last week
I know
we were creating something special.
we are trying to create something special, absolutely, as we try to bring valuable content to you that you can use when you're out there shopping for a home or looking to sell or looking to refinance. We want to be your lender and realtor of choice when doing that right here in Phoenix, Arizona. So please like our Facebook page. If you're watching us from Facebook, please like that. Share it with your friends and family. And then also, if you're watching the replay on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up or give us a thumbs up and share that video as well. We really would appreciate that. Okay, so let's get into today, Throwback Thursday, because these questions are on everybody's mind, and we want to answer these questions for you because we get a lot of questions about real estate when purchasing a home in particular.
We get questions from first-time home buyers. We get questions from 1031 exchanges. I get investor questions on when to sell or even when to sell a property. So I think today we're focusing a little bit about the numbers because I get hundreds of those questions. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get right into some of these questions. So one of the questions, and by all means, you can always contact us. Our contact information is below our little pictures here. But one of the questions that we always get is, how much can I afford if my rent is $1,000 a month? What's that going to equate to in a house payment? And so I'm going to do a little calculation here on a payment. And I typically don't do this. So this is something that, we're equal credit opportunity lender. The rates are subject to change. All the disclosures that need to be said. This is something that don't call me if you want to get the exact number. This is just for example purposes here. Because
But it's a good guesstimate of an example. I mean,
yes,
where we're at, you're using today's rates.
yes,
That may change by the time somebody watches this.
yeah, right,
Uh, but I think because I get it all the time because their lease, sometimes the lease is up and they're going to afford $1,000 a month.
yeah.
What kind of house can I buy today?
Okay, so what I typically do, and I get that question a lot, I always work it kind of backwards. So right now with today's interest rates, and the interest rate that I'm using today right now is 3.75. Actually, interest rates for me are a little bit lower than that, but I don't like to overpromise, underdeliver. So 3.75 is the interest rate. APR is at 4.90. This is an FHA loan that we're talking about. And as far as a principal and interest payment at 3.75, $150,000 sales price, the principal and interest payment on that would be $682. So $682. But unlike rent, there are other factors that combine into a mortgage payment, such as your taxes, your insurance, HOA, which you pay separately, but for qualification purposes, it is considered a housing expense. So we do calculate that in the ratios. And then mortgage insurance. So with that being said, I estimate the homeowners insurance to be about $60 a month. That's $720 a year. That might be a little bit high, but I always like to go high rather than low. And then for real estate taxes, about $94 a month. And real estate taxes, we use a formula of about 0.9% of the sales price. So if you take the sales price, multiply it by 0.9%, 0.009, and then divide that number by 12, that gives you your monthly tax rate, approximately.
I use zero point 0.7, but I'm not a lender. But
Again, I like to go a little bit high just
yeah.
to, not overpromise and underdeliver.
And I know we're going to get to the numbers here, but there's something that we should add. Each city and each part of Maricopa has a different taxing bracket. It's cheaper to own a house for tax reasons in Avondale than it is in Goodyear. In fact, I just looked at a house with the client yesterday. The 225 was the purchase. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the taxes for Avondale were, hold on, I don't want to screw it up. I think it was like 1,225 for last year. The same price, actually 224 in Goodyear. The taxes were 1,700.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
so big difference. And then also, and you can speak better on this than I can. There are what they call county islands, right? Is
yeah,
that? And so the tax rate for county is different than the actual city.
right.
So
I can speak on it too, but you did a pretty good job. So I don't know if I should add anymore what he said.
all
Hey,
right, so
that'll be a great show. Jason and what he said. I'll just say what he said over and over, and then agree with you when you're right, I guess.
yeah, sorry
Anyways,
about
let's
that.
get to the numbers because that's what matters. So
Yep,
150K per FHA, 3.75% interest on today's market, under promising, over delivering.
yep. So 682 principal and interest payment, taxes $94.42, insurance at $60 a month, and then mortgage insurance. This is an FHA quote that I did here. Was 101.67. So total payment there would be 958, or excuse me, 938 16 18. So 938. So just under $1,000 there. Really $1,000 to get hit it on the money. It's probably about $170,000, equal to about $170,000 sales price.
So,
Some variables in there, of course.
so and you did talk about the HOA in that mix or not? Did you throw an
No,
HOA in
so
there?
if you throw an HOA in there, which I average about $50 a month for HOA, then instead of 938, you're looking at 988.
Right.
Yeah, with HOA. So, you know, without an HOA, you're probably 170 mark, somewhere in that vicinity. With HOA, you might be, 160, 150, depending on HOA and taxes and that sort of thing.
Before we go any further, did you start the timer?
Yes, I did.
All
I
right.
did.
We did it.
We did it. In our
Hey,
frazzled little minds, we did it.
what did you say? Homeowners insurance is about $60 a month, right? That's a
It's
good. That's
yeah,
a good price.
$720 a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see that quite a bit in the 150 range, even up to the 200 range. It all depends. We have a couple of homeowners insurance people that we usually go to for quotes and stuff. When I fix and flip, we do a homeowners insurance for vacant homes, which is a little higher than for occupied homes. I know we're talking about homeowner occupants here, but I wanted to stress one thing here. And I think you and I talked about it off camera a little bit, but the homeowners insurance, when you rent a place, you probably have renter's insurance, or you should, or it's encouraged. And if you don't, then you probably should, just in case something were to happen to your property, all your stuff is taken care of. When you rent a place for, let's say, that $1,000 a month, then you have home renter's insurance. I don't do a lot with renter's insurance. I'm not a renter insurance guru, but I imagine it's higher than that $1,000 a month rent. It's $1,000 and some change, right? Maybe 30, 40, 50, or 60. So when people ask me, like, I want to make my payment 1,000, I need to ask them, are you including that homeowner's insurance? Because if you're paying rent for 1,000, you're willing to pay $60 a month for that renter's insurance.
Good
Are you
point.
willing to pay 1,060 for the home? Because it's a big difference.
Yeah, big difference. And right now, in that price point, I mean, you tell me, but from what I see, it's very, very competitive. And $10,000 in purchasing power can be a big deal, right? I mean, in
Yeah.
neighborhood, in location, and everything. So, difference between a $160,000 home, $170,000 home versus a $150,000 home can be a big, big difference.
And it's great that you said 10,000 because I have a little app that I use when I'm showing what payments are. And if I do it on my phone, and the phone's up like this, and I tilt it, it says what it would be for it changes and says for 10,000 more or 10,000 less, here's what your payment would be.
Yeah,
Then it's $60. So
yeah,
and that's pretty common where, and you can quote me or misquote me on this. You can misquote me on this. How's that? And the quotation marks came out again, but so 150 to 160 is $60 more a month. 160 to 170 is $60 more a month. So sometimes your rent is 1,000, but you want to spend 1,200 on owning a home, right?
absolutely.
And then actually it would be more like 1,260 because you're covering the homeowner's insurance. Well, that brings you up quite a bit. I'm just going to do the math really quick because that's let's just say 260. I said 60, so that's for $1,200. We're saying about 170 plus that homeowner's insurance puts us 180.
Yeah, it's a big, big difference. I just had that scenario actually come across yesterday, as a matter of fact. Buyers qualified for about $140,000, and if they paid off one credit card, it bumped them by about $5,000, and that makes a big difference when the agent did a search for properties. It made a big difference. So, just these numbers do matter. And affordability, we've talked about that. The affordability, I don't want to say crisis, but there's an affordability issue out there. And so these numbers, can make a big difference. Now, I will say too, interest rates right now, really low. So having low interest rates increases that purchasing power. So,
We talked about a little bit where I read somewhere, so I'm misquoting somebody now, but it said for every 1% decrease your purchase power by 10%. We keep, for those that haven't watched it, this is new news, but for you and me, we talked about this, I think 3 times so far.
Yeah.
So if you're buying a house at 150 and the interest rate goes up to that 4.75, which it might do next year, that 150 actually becomes the same payment as 135. It's a big difference, man. It's a difference between a carport and a garage, really. In most neighborhoods. If you're looking in the 150 range, you're probably looking in Phoenix or Glendale, maybe Buckeye. Or there's not a lot of houses going for 150 with a garage these days. So
yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit of an eye opener for a lot of people. So, but $1,000, rent right now, I don't know too many people. I mean, I'm sure there are quite a few people paying $1,000 in rent out there, but rent is super high for what you get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not uncommon to see people paying $1,500, $1,200, even $2,000 a month in rent. So,
and that's renting a home. And I'll tell you this, because we have a friend, I have a close friend that rents right now at $1,200, and that's in an apartment complex. That's like a 3-bedroom in an apartment complex. That's high, man. I mean, you could buy a nice house for that. You can buy a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom for that price.
Absolutely. Which kind of leads us into our next question here. So, some of the costs associated with owning a home. Because it's not just the payment. You need to figure the payment, and obviously we've talked about the taxes, insurance, and things like that. But there are some additional costs that need to be factored in as well.
Before we start that, did you run the numbers for like a VA loan? What it would be for $1,000 a month? Did you get there?
Okay, so a VA loan, essentially everything's the same, and that's a good question. So everything's the exact same on a VA loan, except you don't have the mortgage insurance. So the mortgage insurance, $101, that's going to be dropped off.
Okay.
So you're at $887 for that, and then you don't have the. No, that's it. The homeowners insurance. The interest rate is generally the same. So on a VA versus an FHA. Knock off $100. I mean, you could be close to $2,000 or $200,000.
Right.
For a VA loan and only pay $1,000 a month.
Yeah, and I put somebody in a VA loan for $200,000, and his payments were like $1,040 a month or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's VA. If you're a veteran out there, obviously with Luke Air Force Base, here in the West Valley, a lot of veterans out there. If you're paying $1,200 a month in rent, and you know that you're going to stay here and you're not going to be deployed or any of that kind of stuff, and you want to purchase a home, I mean, now's a great time to do it because you can get a nice home for $200,000 out there in the West Valley.
This is a good time to roll out one of the things we started doing over here at the Cotton Group. The Cotton Group, we're doing a thing where love it or list it.
Oh, yeah. Like the show.
Just like the show, but different. Because if you, let's say, and this is great for veterans that are getting restationed or something. If you buy a house from us at the Cotton Group and we were to close on it, say in November this year, if you needed to move out or you wanted to sell it within 12 months, we will list it to you at no charge on us, meaning that we wouldn't take any commissions on that side. We would still pay the buyer's agent, somebody that brings it in. But what we would do is we would say, listen, hopefully the price has gone up a little bit, you cover your costs. But if you don't love the home, we will sell it for you at no cost on our end.
That's a fantastic deal.
Yeah.
Fantastic deal. So
and you guys are first to hear it here. Our 2 or 3 viewers, you're welcome.
I need to get a breaking news sound effect for that because that's awesome. That's fantastic.
We'll talk about it more next week.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so stay tuned for that. So let's talk about costs associated with the home. So let's do a little bit of a rundown. These are generalizations, of course. Each area is going to have be a little bit different. but let's talk about those. I mean, we talked a little bit about HOA, right? Some properties here in Phoenix have HOAs, some neighborhoods, some don't.
Yeah.
The HOA varies depending on if it's a gated community, community pool, parks, that sort of thing.
Or condo. I mean, condos are a
Condos,
little over 200 a month. Gated communities run about 80 to 130 a month.
right?
Just to spitball some numbers that aren't not too far off from the truth, because that's a pretty good range. But when you're looking at a home, you look at your purchase power, and you got to always decide. Oh, the other thing is, if it's no HOA, sometimes those houses go higher because nobody wants to pay an HOA, so the demand for those houses are higher. So you get maybe the same 3-bedroom, 2-bath, let's say 1,300 square foot house. At 160 in an HOA, and maybe it's 175 in a no HOA. So it kind of makes a wash on the payment anyway, right?
Right. Now, the one thing I will say too here, HOAs. Number one, I think they get a little bit. I'm in an HOA personally. It doesn't bother me whatsoever.
I had a feeling you were. You look like that kind of guy.
I look like that kind of guy, huh? I didn't used to be.
Right. Well, before there was no HOAs, I wasn't an HOA.
Yeah, right. I came out of the closet. Now I'm HOA bound. But no, my HOA though, my guys, my HOA board is very, very. I mean, they're nice. I mean, they really are there for the better of the community or the neighborhood. Some HOAs aren't like that, and I think those little, one bad apple makes the whole basket bad or whatever kind of thing.
Right.
HOAs don't bother me so much. I know a lot of people are not so happy and they get some bad publicity, but they are there to keep the community kind of from going astray, right?
Right.
You don't want people, having a car wash, business next door to you.
Raising chickens, free range goats.
Right.
I've seen that in some areas with no HOA.
Yeah.
Boats in the front yard, cars in the front yard. Yeah.
Yeah.
A weekly garage sale that never ends. That's just always out there.
Yeah, it's just always, or flags. I mean, flag was a big one, especially during 9/11 and stuff like that. People want to show their patriotism, and they put a big flagpole in the middle of the yard and, fly a big flag, and, that's great. But not everybody wants to do that, because if you put up, the Southern flag or something like that, that could be offensive to people. So
Right.
this is all in an effort to keep everything kind of status quo, if you will.
I think another cost that we don't really talk about, and it came around the same time HOAs kind of did, is a CFD. Are you familiar with CFDs?
No.
Jayson, they're popular, or they're actually, I would call it outed. Like in Buckeye, there's a thing, CFD, and it's about $3,500. They started this about 2000 or something. It's $3,500, and every year you pay it twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
One part is $150, the other part is $350, for a total of $500. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Of that $150, that just goes towards interest. Of that $350, $200 of it goes towards the principal,
Mm-hmm.
and the other $150 goes towards the interest and whatnot.
Nice.
That's transferable, and it can be paid off. So it's out there, and people know, like, is there a CFD or not a CFD? But there's CFDs everywhere. Like if there's a house built in like 2000, sometimes it's slid in the HOAs. Like there's an extra $15 a month or $35 a month for CFD.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in the taxes, and I think that's why Goodyear's taxes are higher, is because part of the taxes pay off the CFD, houses that are built after 2000. So, and I've seen it in the taxes, and I can't say that that's true for everything, every
Right.
single house,
Right.
but I've seen it on tax reports where like $55 of this goes towards the CFD.
Nice. Okay, I didn't know that. So learn something new right here on 22 Minutes with Jayson and Stefan. There you go.
Well, there you go.
Discovery.
Right. We're too busy laughing, and we got more
I
buttons
know.
to press.
Right.
Yep.
We got buttons to press. I'm getting better. I'm trying to get better. All right. So the other thing, too, I want to kind of stress here is property taxes. Property taxes here in the state of Arizona, especially here in Maricopa County, for what we get in Arizona, I got to tell you, are fantastic. Fantastically low, right? I mean, we complain about a lot of different things, and I've lived in different parts of the country, and I got to tell you, our property taxes here are really, really low for what we get as a community as a whole, Maricopa County, sports teams, I mean, you name it, we've got it right here in Phoenix. I mean, we're a major, major city in the United States, and our property taxes are I've read reports where they're the lowest on the West Coast. I don't know if that's true or not. There are things that do suffer as a result of it, and we're not going to get into political things of it, but as a whole, property taxes are very, very low. So property taxes are, I haven't seen one deal yet, and I've been doing this 23 years. I've not seen one deal not come across or not get approved because the property taxes were too high. Like back in Ohio, which is where I'm from, property taxes are ridiculous. And they vary greatly from one community to another, one suburb to another. So
Judith was here yesterday, and they were talking about property taxes, and someone was paying $5,500 last year for property taxes. $5,500, like here we're talking about $1,200 or $1,500 for a $200,000 house, and their houses were selling for $200, for $5,500. It's ridiculous. The other thing, and I want to add this piggyback what you're saying about the taxes. So sometimes your house values go up.
Yeah. Yep.
When your house values go up.
Sometimes, hopefully all the time.
Well, we have a market condition advisor.
Yeah, I know. Right.
It's more like this, and then.
Right.
But as the prices go up, the value of the house goes up, and as the value of the house goes up, the taxes go up.
Yeah.
So if you're paying $1,000 a month on your mortgage, and now next year it says it's going to be $1,040 a month, that's a good thing. That means you've gained equity in your property. Yeah. So at $1,040, that's $480 more in taxes. That's a lot. I mean, that means that your property grew about 20% maybe or more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if the payment goes down, that's not a bad thing. That's also a good thing because you're not planning on selling. So now you're $1,000 a month. Maybe you can put more towards principal if you shave off $40 a month or something.
Absolutely. So property taxes aren't an inhibitor from purchasing a home, I guess is the bottom line. Taxes are really, really cheap here. So we're just about at our 22 minutes here. We're about 21 minutes or so. So we'll probably wrap some things up here. But hopefully we answered some questions, at least one question about affordability and payment and what you can reasonably expect to pay. There are costs obviously associated with owning a home after the fact, but electric and all that kind of stuff. So, you got to keep that kind of in mind and talk to.
You have that with
renting, anyways, right? Yeah. So, but there are trash and stuff like that. But these sort of things, talk to the realtor, talk to the expert, talk to Stefan and his group about those sort of things because those kind of costs do vary from community to community, neighborhood to neighborhood, even house to house.
So this is a good episode to if you had a friend that was thinking about buying, this would be a good one to share. I'm not saying for you, Jayson. I'm saying for all the viewers out there. If you're watching this video, you found some value in it. But more importantly, if you know somebody that's thinking about buying, say, hey, watch this video. They kind of go over some numbers. Yeah. It's easier if you come in and we do a buyer's consult and we go over all these numbers again and actually make it for you. Like you want to live in Surprise or you want to live in Phoenix. Let's talk about first off what the houses look like and then what the payments would look like, what the inspection period looks like, blah, blah, blah. We only have 22 minutes today. So buyer's consult can last a little longer if need be.
Absolutely. This is where it gets really tailored down to you and your specific needs. But hey, thanks for watching the show. If you watch us on Facebook, please like our page, share it with friends and family, as Stefan has said here. And also, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, and I'll get better at it, I promise. If you want to reach out to the show, hashtag 22 minutes. Use that hashtag. We will search that on social media, and we will return your question or your thoughts or whatever. You can tweet 22 minutes, hashtag 22 minutes, and we'll pick that up and definitely respond back to you. So appreciate you watching. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, hey, give us that thumbs up and subscribe, and then share and reach out to us. We'd love to earn your business right here in Phoenix, Arizona.
What's tomorrow? Friday is what?
News. So we're going to do some news tomorrow. News. I don't have my cheat sheet here. I was looking for my cheat sheet, but tomorrow we're going to cover some news that's happening in the real estate.
Stuff that happened this week.
Yeah, stuff that happened this week on the mortgage side and in, I guess, real estate in general.
Yes, so, and then whatever happened on my favorite TV shows.
Yeah, right. Survivor, The Blind Side.
Right.
The Blind Side on Survivor, man. That was epic last night.
I missed Blind Side.
That was epic. All right, cool. So let's end the show now. And we will see you tomorrow right here. Same place, same bat channel. Do they say bat channel?
Yeah, they do. They do. We don't.
All right, we don't.
We have to pay a royalty.
All right, take care, everyone.
Okay. Royalty. All right, man, thanks.
All right.